Listening to the UAE's #1 talk radio station.
This is the Business Breakfast on Dubai Eye 103.8.
With Richard Dean, Brandy Scott and Tom Urquhart.
Headlines this morning, FT, CNN, about bank losses in the US, reviving fears over the US commercial property market. Low occupancy rates, high interest rates mean that there is concern about bank loans for office buildings. Here in the UAE, it seems to be the opposite story. We can't get enough of the stuff. We've got a new report coming out from CRC, that's part of the Better Homes Group, saying that we're set to get 44,000 square metres of office space this year. There's a couple of zeros in there, but is it anywhere near like enough? We are very pleased to be joined by the Managing Director of CRC this morning, Behnam Bargh. Ben, good morning.
Good morning, Brandy.
So 44,000 square metres, drop in the ocean?
Absolutely. And if you look at Dubai, you've got all these free zones and you have mainland. So what you see is mostly in free zones coming up. So mainland is really less than that. So it's a drop in the ocean, and we are actually seeing very, very high occupancy in mainland. Like we're talking buildings at 98%, 99%.
Okay, so this 44,000 square metres, that's just free zone?
Mostly free zones. And, if you put it in perspective, we're talking about 5 buildings. So, it sounds like it's got many zeros. We're talking about 5 buildings only, maximum.
Why so little?
I'm not sure. I came here last time. I've been a big advocate of promoting developers to come to the market and develop, especially A quality buildings, but they prefer residential with quick turnover, quick money. They're just putting money first. And there hasn't been any, initiative from government to give incentives to developers as well. So, but what we see is that occupancies are very high, driving the prices high as the demand is not slowing down.
Okay, let's dig into that a little bit, because you're right. There are developers coming in from all over the world, a lot of international names who are getting into the residential space. Tell me a little bit more about why that's so much more attractive than the office space.
Basically with that kind of, philosophy, when they come in, they know they can sell the products to a wider audience. It's a quick turnover. Sometimes as soon as they get to 30%, I would say, build up enough plan, they can actually stop selling them. And with commercial market, it's not the same. They have to wait till the end usually, and normally the strategy is to rent it and then sell it. So just developers are not interested. They're just interested in residential, quick. It's low hanging fruit for them. So that's how I see it. So
what does that mean for the companies that need office space?
We are suffering. At one stage we had more than 3,000 listings in Dubai. Now that's been third. We have 1,000 active listing at any given time. That means prices are going up. I see less movement, like tenants are not moving because it doesn't make sense for them to move as the price is going up. And the occupancies are so high that, also it's landlords market. So the terms that they have, they don't give as favorable terms. They're demanding for 1 or 2 checks. They're demanding for, less rent-free period if it's a shell and core office. So it's a landlord's market at the moment.
What about to sell, to buy rather? Is there the stuff for sale?
We've seen a huge increase. So lately we, obviously sent our report out for last year. There are 76% more transactions in sales. There's a lot of companies that look at the market and say, we're paying a lot of rent, so we may as well capitalize on that rent. So they become end users. Also, as the rent prices are going up, it's getting more attractive for investors because they're getting better yield. So we are seeing more transactions in commercial real estate, and that's becoming a good asset for investors and end users to invest in.
If commercial landlords are getting those yields, though, do they want to sell? What does the stock look like?
No. So we have, I would say, in Dubai, 2 types of landlords. The freehold landlords, when individuals, and then we have full buildings and owned by one company or one entity. Those buildings, they're not for sale usually, but the individual, there are some that they look at and say, okay, it's a good time to exit. If they bought it 2-3 years ago, they could have doubled their money. So why not?
And a lot of companies, of course, won't have much of a choice as to how much they rent because of a tie between visas and square footage. Talk me through that.
That's also another challenge. So as you grow the number of employees in your company, there is a matrix that you have to follow by Dubai Economic Department, depending on your activity. For example, it's 80 square feet per visa per person. So let's say if you got another 50 people that you're forecasting to employ, you've got to have another 4,000 square feet to add to your office space.
Okay, so we reached 1,120 for a square foot last year for sales, for price, and we're just short of the 2014 high.
I think that report, if you have a look at it, it doesn't consider the A quality building. The A quality buildings and prime locations, they're even higher. That's the average price. I mean, we've seen similar stats in residential. You've got the prime locations that have gone much higher. Look, I don't see any supply coming to the market for the next 3 years. Just to put it in perspective, if you want to really build a G+50, it would take you 3 years planning, approvals and construction. So the next 3 years, there's shortage of supply. And I can only see it if the demand doesn't slow down, which it hasn't, the prices would go up and up.
30 seconds left with you. How high could they get? Give me a number.
Look, it's kind of scary in some areas. It's doubled since COVID. But also, I think the supply and demand equilibrium will come to the play at one stage. Having said that, as you said, unless the law changes, some companies have no choice. So when you have no choice, you have to pay the price.
CRC Managing Director Behnam Bargh talking about office space here in the UAE. Dubai set to get another 44,000 square feet.
It was a square meter.
Square meters, thank you, of free zone office space this year. But he says that is a lot less than what we need. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
This is the Business Breakfast, live on Dubai Eye.